Kia ora e te matua Doug, tēnā koe, and thank you for welcoming us here today. It's really special to be here surrounded by your waka and your stories. Now, Doug, today, for those watching who might not know who you are, ko wai koe. Who are you and where do you come from originally?
Ooh, big story. Now, I was born down in Kaikōura and I grew up knowing that I was one of the Ngāti Kuia local Māori down there, all my cousins at school, and I knew where my aunties were, and I had very loving parents, which helps a lot. My father, it's been said, he's a very proud family man, and I can say that he's highly respected in Kaikōura because we're going to talk about the Kaikōura Reserve, whereby my cousins like to have our name put on that reserve, especially Joan Williams, who was very active in the conservation of the rivers over many years. She put that name forward and it stuck. But anyway, coming back to me, I grew up always using my hands, making things. I'm still doing it at 82 years old with this waka model that it was rediscovered, I suppose, by Hilary and John Mitchell. But myself, Kaikōura, I knew where my tūwhānau were buried in the Kaumātua Doug Huria. My dad and I cleared all the broom out of it many years ago, broom and blackberry. When I was a kid, I helped him, and it formed a very strong bond with my father. So growing up in Waitoa, my dad always had a 16 to 18 foot cam flatty, a waka with oars. And no doubt I was in that when I was still that waka when I was a baby in arms. So I was always using my hands, and my father always was always on the river fishing. What had happened is a great-grandfather lived further up the river, and my father just moved further down because he's working at the prison works. He's a very happy family man. So with that background, we had a very limited number of tools, but some of the things we made with the tools that we had, I still are quite amazed. But when I went to high school, I was a top student in technical drawing, woodwork and art. I've still got the reports, and I was very fortunate to have a wonderful teacher, Gavin Elliott. I learnt later that he was a Sunday school teacher, but I was blessed with a decent man that wanted to teach. That grew into woodwork. So my brother was a foreman joiner in Blakely's joinery shop. So it's obvious I was going to go and join him, which I did. And tragically, my brother was drowned less than 2 years later. But I we were enjoying the pleasure of having a family, and I built a house when I was started when I was 24, and it was finished by the time I was 25. That house now is at 213C Beach Road, Kaikōura. Obviously, it was shifted through the Inland Road, but after that time, I moved to Riverton and worked as a boat builder for 5 years, and came to Marlborough after that. And I heard that the 1990 Commission was putting up monies to build waka. I went down to Whakapapa where I'd put a Pinex ceiling in a wool shed, which became a dining room down there. We had a hui in that room. Regards to the 1990 commission, I said we can build a waka in 3 pieces, shift it with 1 truck and trailer, and off it went to Waitangi. About just over 5 months later, I worked with Jim and Dixie Walker. Dixie Walker hung on to the other end of the tape for me while we lofted the waka out on the floor of a packing shed, and off it went to Waitangi anyway. But so Jim and Dixie, Ngāti Kuia. I came to Marlborough. All I knew was my great-great-grandfather's name. His name was Te Ruamangi Te Whakapapa. And now I know, through an affidavit to the High Court by Mason Moses and Rory Stafford, that we're on the Kurihaupa Waka Kaumātua list, which makes me think of the Nelson tents. But anyway, that puts my tupuna in Tasman Bay in 1830, 3 years after Dumont D'Urville was there. So this is the history that I've recovered for our family and other families, obviously Ngāti Kuia, because we were passengers on the same waka, Kurihaupa. And I think that describes pretty much who I am. I still get joy out of technical and woodwork, but the old body, the battery's getting a bit flat at times. If you go back to 2003, I wanted to build a waka tete, a small waka, because we'd built a war canoe, Wakatoa. And here's a very special book, Canoes of Oceania, Bishop Museum, written by Haddon and Hornell, a wonderful collection of waka for all over the Pacific. And in the New Zealand section, there's a waka, a plan and an elevation drawing. So I scaled it, and I knew it would have to have water ballast because it was too deep. Mr. Tim Barnett has just reiterated that just recently. He says it's as deep as what it is wide, it's going to fall over. So, but anyway, that's the only plan I had before 2003. I will build one, because I'm a bit of a game bugger in some ways. I'll give it a shot. But anyway, it's been proved that it's not correct. And but sadly, John and Hilary Mitchell's book never came out until 2004. And in that book, there's the drawings that were done by the trained artists. The 2 trained artists did drawings. They were with Dumont D'Urville. And it's only 20 years later, when I was doing more research for our family history, I looked hard at that drawing and I picked up the special technology that our tupuna had applied to the forest or the bush of New Zealand. They knew when they looked at the trees and came to a design that was only 1 metre wide, and the rower, the top strakes, were fastened at a 25-degree angle, which increased the beam of the waka by a foot. And anyway, the Frenchmen, they saw these waka move easily move about easily, even in heavy seas. So with that, and then the history that Cook's men recorded, the fact that these waka never had any seats. All the cargo and crew were in the bottom of the hull. And that's the technology that is part of our history. It evolved over the last 800 years. So,
Can you tell us a bit about your Waka Museum here at home, how it all began and what it represents for you?
it happens to be history that was missing. I think that answers it very simply. It was our family history. My grandfather on my mum's side, he created, he was the curator, the founder of the Waka Museum down at Catlins. And if you want to see it, it's in the dock centre at Awaka, south of Balclutha. He collected all the history and stories he could. And that's my granddad on my mum's side. So I get it both sides, history and interest. And it happens to be who I am, most of what's here.
You're also working with Mark Solomon on a special Waka project. How did that partnership come about?
That came about because I put together, you might say, the first edition of a Waka book. Obviously, when found the record of the two French artists, that something had to be done about it. Because if you go back to 1990, I was asked would I like to join the Waka Federation by Gary Nicholas, Federation of a lovable old man, Heck Busby. He was there. I'm not very good on names, but probably better with a bit of wood. Whoever from Tauranga, Tiffany Mamaku, I felt in their presence, I felt hell on honoured because of being stripped of our history in the South Island, you might say. Only knowing that my great-great-grandfather came from the top of the South, and then to be in the presence of these gentlemen. I remember Tiffany said to me, he said, "We're bilingual, don't you know?" It's some hooey. Most of the time I get my mouth shut and listen. And I believe now that what I've discovered here in the top of the South, these beautiful waka, I'm being of some use. We never knew this history, but it's being laid before us now through this waka model. Now, what happened was I put this book together and I sent it to the Federation members, Waitangi, just this year. It was sent by a Dutch waka lady from Leiden University. She took it up there and it ended back in the South Island with Mark Solomon. This revelation of this history. And there you go. Mark got in touch with our family down in Canterbury, and then next thing, we're arranging for him to come and talk with me, which Mark did, and we spent 5 hours together. Mark is returning because, and we're having a little semi-formal handing over. And as we know, it's up on the wall in this room. We're looking at it. 50-odd foot waka, and it's only under 900 high, and it's the hull's only 1 metre wide, but the sides go out to 1 metre 300. at 25 degrees. The achievement of our tūpuna, we don't know about it. It's recovery of technological history, in a maritime sense. See, today, a lot of the waka that they're using, they're dead straight. The sea's not like that. The sea's like that and like that. So I won't say any more. The sea's out there. You go out there enough, you'll learn from it, especially when it gets angry.
What message or advice would you like to give our younger whānau and younger generations who want to learn about waka or our maritime history?
You've got the land and you've got the sea. The sea's a very dangerous place. Water's a very dangerous thing. Don't think about things that are not necessary. Keep thinking all the time about what could happen.
Looking back over your life, your mahi with waka and everything you've done, what are you most proud of?
Well, just in the broad sense, what I've done, I suppose. I'm very proud of my dear Margaret and my family.
Thank you, Doug, for sharing your stories and wisdom with us today. Listening to you reminds us that waka are more than wood or rope. They're living stories that carry our ancestors and they continue to carry us today. Your work, your passion, and your aroha for our iwi are gifts that will keep teaching future generations long after us. E mihi ana ki a koe te rangatira Doug, mō tō matauranga, tō manawa nui, me te aroha ki tō iwi. We honour your knowledge, your strength, and your love for our people. Hei konei rā whānau, thank you for watching, and may the stories of our elders always guide us forward. Kia ora, Doug.